Okay, people, now that we have created our very first project on Android Studio, let's learn more about Android Studio, the features provided by it, its capabilities, and how we can use it to get maximum from the Android Studio and create amazing Android applications. So, like we discussed in earlier chapter, Android Studio consists of five parts. The first one, the top layer like this one is the toolbar. The second is navigation bar. The third is the project explorer, the editors and this stuff. Then the fourth is the toolbar, like this one and this one. This is the toolbar. And the fifth, the last one, the last layer is the status bar. So in this chapter we will talk about the toolbar, which is the very first layer, this one. So here you see certain icons. Let's discuss each icon one by one. So the first icon is the open icon. Open icon is used basically to load any application, any source code into your Android Studio. So you can open any existing Android project into your Android Studio with the open command. Saves your entire Android application, the entire workspace. So now, what is a workspace? So think of workspace like your study table. On your study table, you have a notebook, you have certain textbooks, you have a laptop, you have pen, stationaries, and all those things, right? So consider this as your workspace, where you have all your project folders, all files, all the tools that is required to build your Android application and everything. So that's why we call this the workspace, right? The third thing is the synchronize. The synchronize is basically to sync your application with your GitHub repository. So we discussed GitHub in very detail, in depth in the last module. So the next icon is the undo, the redo, cut, copy, and paste. So we are very familiar with all these operations. So I think I don't need to go through all these things, right? Then the next icon is the find icon. So you can find a certain text over here. I can click here and it will just simply filters using regular expressions, match case and words and all those things. We can do all those activities with the find command. Then the next is the replace tool. So suppose if you have a variable called hello and you have used this variable say 100 times, and if you want to rename this variable from hello to world, so you can't manually rename the variable from hello to world every time, right? So you can simply use this replace command. So I can simply select something over here and click this, and I can simply replace each and everything over here right away. And then the next icon is the back and the front, which takes you a step forward and a step backward. The next is to make a project. So the make project is building your project. When I click on make project, you can see certain actions happening over here. It's Gradle is building the entire project. So we have discussed Gradle as well. Though we'll be discussing Gradle in more detail in upcoming chapters, in upcoming modules. But to make is to build a project, to compile a project, to compile your application. So this is the application that we are working with right now. So this is the app and this, so see here, this is the app and this is the app. So this is the application that we are working with right now. This is the run command. So now you have created your Android application. You have written the entire code, everything. Now the next step would be that you would want to run this application on your mobile phone or on an emulator. So what an emulator is, we will again discuss about emulator in more detail in upcoming chapters, right? Then the next is the debug command, the debug tool. Debug is used to debug your application. So it takes you step by step into your Android application code, and you can apply breakpoints, you can have certain things, and you can see how your code is performing on every step, on every line. The next command is to attach debugger to Android process. So this is again something, like suppose if you are running an application, this Hello World application on a device, and you want to see how this is performing. So you can simply attach a debugger to that device, and then you can see how that the application is performing actually in your device. There are some more commands called as rerun, to rerun the project, to stop a running project, Then we have this preferences. So preferences is preferences, like how your entire editor looks. So you can change, you can see all those things, general colors, and like you can change the colors of your text. You can change the font. You can do all those like trivial stuff over here. The next tool is the project structure. So when we click on project structure, it basically shows how your project is actually working. The SDK, which is a software development kit. So it shows the location of the JDK which we installed in the earlier chapter. So it shows the location where JDK is installed. It shows the location where your Android SDK is installed. It shows the Gradle version, Android plugin version. It shows every detail about your application, right? Then the next tool is to sync project with Gradle files. Like we discussed, we there are certain cases when we use multiple libraries in our Android application. Like for instance, there might be a library which loads image from the URL into your application. Another library could be responsible for bouncing a ball. The third library could be, like integrating a Facebook login button in your application. Clicking on this, it simply, it syncs your entire project with the Gradle build. Gradle is a central repository which is maintained again by Google. You don't need to worry about it. So next time if you share this project with your colleague or with your friend, he doesn't need to download and install all these libraries. He can simply sync it with Gradle and he can start coding right away. That's the beauty of Gradle. And then the next is AVD Manager. AVD is Android Virtual Devices. So I've created a virtual device called Nexus 5X API. So this is the virtual device on which I'll be running on all the Android applications that we will build throughout the project. You can create a new virtual device. You can select what kind of virtual device you want, and you can select the phone, the size. You can see the categories. If you want it for phone, you want it for tablet, for your Android watch or a television. Click on next. Again, you can see the Android version for which you want to build your Android application. So here I have Marshmallow already downloaded, so you can again download it. And so all the projects that I'll build will be built on Android Marshmallow. The API level is 23 and the system image is x86 64, which is 64 bits, right? Then if you click on next, it will build your new device and all those things. So you can click on finish and your Android virtual device will be in place. Since I already have this, I won't click on finish, I'll click on cancel. But you should follow this process and create a new virtual device. The third is SDK manager. SDK manager basically have, it basically you can see the index of all the available APIs. I only have API 24 installed on my machine, so I can install other APIs. I can select on these, and I can install these APIs on our machine. So if you want to target, say, multiple Android phones, Marshmallow, KitKat, Nougat, and Jelly Bean, and all these, then you have to install all these APIs, and then you can start working on all these APIs, right? We have SDK tools, and you can go through all this thing. Like suppose if you want to add a Google billing thing, or if you want to add, say, Google Play services, like if you want to add a payment thing attached with Google Play services, you can install this and you can use these APIs to connect it with your Android application. So now your Android application will work seamlessly with Google Play services. And these are the Google update SDK update sites. These are the sites from where you will basically download all the SDK tools and SDK platforms, right? The third one is the Android device monitor. So clicking on this, it pops up this window. So it basically monitors how your application is performing on your Android device, the memory it's using, and whatever things it's basically, like all the performance kind of things. So it shows something like this kind of thing. So it shows the threads, all the threads that is running, that your Android application is running, the heap size, the allocation threads, the network stats. Like suppose if your application is interacting with some remote database, so it will show how it is actually interacting with it. The file explorer, all the files on your Android application, the emulator, and system information and everything, right? So we'll be exploring this in more detail in later topics. The next is the help thing. So over here you can simply search for help and all those trivial things. So that's all for the toolbar in Android Studio. In next topic, we will be discussing the navigation bar, right? Yeah. Thank you for watching, guys.